All right, everybody. Thank you for being here. Thanks again for joining us. Thanks to our friends. Thanks to NiftyKit for hosting. Today's very exciting because we have a very exciting guest with us. We're here with Gifdead. Very, very, very happy. Talented artist, community leader, master of media, my Gemini soul brother, and boy, do we bicker like siblings in GMO3 in the morning, but it's all love. So like any good sibling, here I am supporting and uplifting my brother and talented creator because the work he's done on Coffins is pretty awesome. You've outdone yourself. So definitely a proud sister and love this project and enlisting the support of NiftyKit Generator and also being one of the first Open Gen projects. So we're delighted and honored to be hosting you today in the Coffins project. So just a little bit of housekeeping before we chat. Firstly, there is info on NiftyKit's updates, ERC20 app, new payment options, as well as you can create your own generative collections. You can check out Soulbound tokens. We invite you to explore NiftyKit Pro. There's gas-free minting with no crypto wallets needed. You can create 3D drops and additions. And we've joined forces with CrossMint, and that makes selling NFTs and digital art a lot easier for users like all of us. So get your sales artists. We love the credit card minting. All those details are pinned up top. And as always, please visit NiftyKit's Discover page for new collections and niftykit.com to learn how you can use our tools to become a creator. And you can hit me up. You can hit my colleague Dong Lee up here up. If you have any questions, let's go. We want to help you guys get your projects off the ground. So this Twitter space goes for about an hour. So get ready to hear all about gifts, coffins. And lastly, just a friendly reminder that we host spaces every week. So follow NiftyKit, put us on notifications so you don't miss out. So yes, we are talking with Gifdead. I already sang you a bunch of praises. I really have been kind of like holding back in the morning show and in like the other drop room the other evening because I wanted to kind of talk to you about it in this space and hear more about, you know, the concept behind this project and just more thoughts from you. But before we dive in, if you can quickly take a moment and check out the pinned tweets above, everybody can follow along as we talk today. And Gift, please feel free to pin and add anything additional as well. So,
I'm already
okay, good.
Yeah, I'm excited to share all the cool things people are making with the generator.
Amazing.
So there's already a bunch of stuff.
Perfect. So here we are. So the public drop was yesterday. How are you feeling?
Just grateful and filled with gratitude. I woke up this morning to see 500 had been minted so far, and that's just an amazing feeling. You know, I tend to go into things and really try very hard to keep my expectations in check and not like, you know, just get like totally out of hand with grandiose visions of like what's possible. So, and to me, just the reactions of people playing with the generator, creating cool Coffins art, and the way that people have been reacting to it and starting to discover it, look at the designs, appreciate the designs, and create honestly combinations and colorways and pieces that I never would have even thought of, that's honestly just been so incredible. It's been so rewarding, so fulfilling. And yeah, I'm just so excited that it's now live. So people, you know, for just $9 plus gas can go play with it, create as many as they want, and just make awesome combinations from the over 400. There's actually 461 layers created, unique layers. And one of the cool things about the generator that I'll just throw to that is when you do upload it into the generator app on the NiftyKit website, it does some quick math and tells you how many possible variations. The total number of variations that NiftyKit told me Coffins could create with the 461 layers is almost 197 billion. And that's with a B. That's not a joke. 179? No. Yeah, I think it's 179 billion. So something crazy, but it's just one of the cool things about the app. And yeah, I'm just filled with gratitude. to wake up this morning, see 500 minted already, and to see people appreciating it. Brian Lee, to name one, true, I'm Complex, literally one of the first artists that I met and fell in love with on Clubhouse when I got into the NFT space, creator of Oniforce. He minted a couple early ones in the pre-sale phase and just shared one out like that. What can you say? Like, you know what I mean? It doesn't matter anything else to me. That to me just means so much, and seeing everybody creating cool stuff. So
I love this. I love seeing everybody share their coffins. There was a pre-sale, which was actually very generous on your part. People that were DBs holders or Oniforce were able to get in on the action, not only early, but also for free. So everybody got to mint too. So that was a nice little sort of, treat for people in the community. Love
yeah, well,
that.
it's an inclusive open gen project. So like the most simple, like what is Coffins? If you just look at it, at the highest level, it's just an inclusive open generative art collectible project. And the inclusivity part is important for me, given where the market's at. I'm not the only one that's been hurting during this market. We're still coming out of that. I came in as a creative producer and still have a long way to go of sharing my own creativity, my own, 20 plus years as a creative industry pro and designer. I haven't really focused on that a lot. And so to me, it was very important with this project, with my first big, my own first generative art project, my own project where this is my own IP fully, that I can do whatever I want with, that I can build on. The first thing that's really highlighting and showcasing my art front and center in the space. It was just really, really important that I made it inclusive and accessible. And so that's why the price is as affordable as it is, keeping it at $9, even in the public sale. You do have to cover gas, of course, but still, I think that's incredibly affordable. And that's the idea. And also keeping it open for a month. Right now, I can close it whenever, right? Like I can choose to close it, and that locks in the total supply wherever it's closed. But as of right now, the plan is to keep it open for a month. December 13th at midnight is when it should close. And all of this, including that pre-sale where everybody on the DBs holders and Oniforce holders that were snapshotted who have those projects could get in and claim to for free. All of this is because of the ethos of trying to make it inclusive and accessible and just something awesome for people to play around with and collect and create cool art.
I love this. So we're going to have multiple opportunities to show all of those details again as people are sort of just shuffling in. I do want to kind of double back and talk a little bit about the old days, IRL, what you were doing before you came into Web3. As I do ask all guests, that come on to these spaces, just in your own words, just to hear a little bit about that background and then what ultimately brought you into the Web3 space before we do get into more about some generative things that you've created in the space and ultimately Coffins. So yeah, where you kind of touched on a little bit of what you were doing before and your background and your experience. So I'd love for people in the audience that don't know who you are, just a little elevator pitch on who you were before Web3.
Yeah, and I'm really excited for this conversation, Jess. So, I would be remiss to not also make sure to say thank you up front to NiftyKit, to you, Dong Lee, Juvie, their whole team. These tools that they're building are truly phenomenal, and we can get more into that and like why this is so cool, because literally none of this could have even happened, in the recent history and while we were in the space, because these tools, these creator tools that they're creating are just absolutely fantastic, and they've been awesome. So thank you. Thank all of y'all in here who are showing up to listen to me actually tell more of my own creative history and about this project, because I've literally focused my entire time coming into the space doing what I was doing professionally, being a creative producer and a brand builder, trying to discover and partner with other artists and build their ideas and their brands. And all I've done for the most part for the last almost 3 years straight now, consistently every day, is highlight and promote artists and creators that I love, projects that I think deserve it, trying to find the signal from the noise, create the highest quality editorial, entertainment, and educational content that I possibly can, and make this space a better place for everybody. I'm really, really like our whole Web3 network, the whole ethos is to try and infuse more trust and create something meaningful and long lasting. That was the vision behind Nifty Castle too. All of this has been trying to look at that long-term vision of what's possible with this amazing technology and all of this creative energy and all of the brilliant people that participate in this new emergent creator class around the world, with this decentralized technology that can empower them. Like, that's literally been it since day one. And so I spend so much time, energy, my entire life now, existence has been focused on trying to support and build this space in a good, what I think is a good way, hopefully a sustainable, good way, and highlighting artists, focusing on art, talking about art. I came in through the Clubhouse 2021, class of 2021. I actually really got into NFTs January 2021, through all of that and through that creative community on Clubhouse and all of that energy during COVID and that outpouring of wanting to connect and create and all of that. So that's my entry into the space. So everything that I do comes through that lens, and the way I came in through that and why is because I've been a creator my whole life. I've been an artist my whole life. So previous to that and all of this stuff that we're doing now as a full-time Web3 entrepreneur that I've been doing for the last couple of years, I've been a brand strategist, brand builder, writer strategist, and designer, graphic designer. And yeah, creative producer. That's what I've been doing professionally in the creative industries for 15 plus years. And even beyond that, before that, graphic design, art, music. Yeah. So specifically, and I'll try and get to the point and wrap up this question quickly. Right before, I was working with the biggest entertainment brands and specifically gaming brands in like the last 5 years. I was a manager of global creative strategy at Electronic Arts headquarters, EA, in San Francisco in Redwood City, helping to launch their new games, global game products, basically developing and launching, executing, running global campaigns for Electronic Arts, EA's new games, and then running all of the influencer marketing. So scaling creative for Ubisoft and all of their game launches. I managed $10 million in influencer spend for Ubisoft across their product line over the course of about 2.5 years. So that means, working with the biggest creators in the space and a bunch of upcoming gaming creators in the space. So I've produced 2 Mr. Beast videos, a ton of Vanoss videos, Jacksepticeye's, a bunch of other just like TikTok and lifestyle influencers like Lauren Gray, people like that I was producing with, doing commercials and different social media videos for like Just Dance and all those as well. But yeah, I've worked with tons and tons of influencers, literally thousands of influencers, scaling creative. And the point of why I think this is all relevant is because, again, it's like most people don't really know me to be an artist, because I didn't come in to position myself immediately as, hey, look at me, look at my art, look how creative I am. I wanted to find my way into the community and find all the cool things that were happening and support and connect with other amazing creators. But you don't get to be a manager of global creative strategy at the biggest gaming company in the world, or managing multi-million-dollar creative campaigns for these companies, if you don't have a deep understanding of creative process and know how to manage that, right? So the point that I'm trying to make is my entire history growing up as an artist, as a creator, going to, Ringling School of Art and Design pre-college programs when I was 15 and 16 years old, going to University of Texas at Dallas for their art and technology program for my undergrad, and then getting a master's degree in entertainment industry management from Carnegie Mellon. You don't like do all of that if you aren't deeply invested in art, creativity, and the creative process. So I think that's the thing that I don't talk much about, that I'm just excited to be sharing more about, like how I got here.
Well, you don't sound qualified at all, frankly, sir. So I don't know. I'm kidding.
Yeah.
After all of that. But I mean, that's why I do love talking to you solo, like outside of the normal spaces that we're in, because I always learn more about, where you came from, the different places you've existed in, which frankly, I think that we all don't give ourselves enough credit in the space to really celebrate how multifaceted we are as artists and that we have the permission to explore in whatever lane we choose. And you represent that. And definitely with this new project too, which is really cool to see you stepping in to your artist side of things, like having like your, you know, Gifdead, if I may, with your art. So this is really cool. And it's really nice to support you like on a solo endeavor, right? As opposed to you always like lifting other artists up. So I do want to ask, I know, prior to Coffins, which we'll get into in a bit, what has been your main focus with bringing like your work into Web3? Maybe share a little bit about what you've experimented with prior and what your experiences have been like the past few years here.
Oh man, there's so much to unpack there. And I'll just say initially to like what you were saying, yeah, like I think so many of us in the space, like when I scroll through this amazing room, like so many talented, awesome creators, artists, builders in the space right now. I mean, shit, I don't even want to start naming a few names because then I literally have to name all of you. Um, the point is like I think all of us are to some extent just like multidisciplinary, multi-talented artists and creators at this point. And I think you're absolutely right on that. To get into like things that I've been experimenting with specifically in the last couple of years, like there's so much, right? We came in and immediately I saw the vision of like this is gonna sound, I don't even want to say that. Like we had a very early vision, which was to create an umbrella brand, a platform, a destination, if you will call it, under which you could develop IP. We were one of the first to come up with that vision. And we started doing that and discovering artists. And we found this guy, Sketchnate, who's an incredibly talented artist. And so we partnered with him to work on his whole ideas and develop DBs and WitchyGF, which were very early generative art projects. And when I mean early, I mean it was just me, Woboy, and Sketchnate. We didn't have any of these tools, like the awesome things that NiftyKit does. We handmade 9,300 something pieces of art. We didn't have any of these tools, like literally handmade 9,300 something pieces of art. Went through that process. That was an incredible learning curve. We launched that, ended up selling it out after a couple months, never got a bunch of support. It was all organic, just us. We didn't know what we were doing, but we were discovering as we went, made tons of mistakes with it. Still super proud of that. Going to be looking for ways to build it in the future, however we can. And then expanded that and had to build our own pipeline through a Google dev with WitchyGF to handle that. Like these were massive early generative art projects when none of this stuff existed. So I've learned a ton about how the space actually works. For instance, I thought if you just created cool art with cool artists and had a good community, good intentions, created great IRL experiences, and tried to create something long-term and valuable and interesting, and kept showing up and supporting people, that would be what mattered. And of course, one of the things I learned is like, well, no, actually, the way that most of these projects work is they have influencers and VCs and people behind them, backing them up, creating basically market making, creating liquidity, doing a bunch of other marketing things. It's not just about having a cool, interesting project. You have to think about like, how does the market work? Like, what is the crypto market and like the financial aspect of this space is actually so key to it. It's like you have to really understand how to pair these different tools, the tech side, the financial side, with your art, and create a unique selling proposition that matches a very specific meta and time and a need. And it's just like, these are all things that are so nuanced that when you are just trying to create cool things and get into it and learn the tech, you have no fucking idea how all of that works, right? So yeah, created some very early awesome generative art projects with Sketchnate and a small team at Nifty Castle, and then have been focused on, again, trying to create a community-driven platform that's focused on creating the highest quality entertainment, education, and editorial content, really to hopefully infuse more trust into the space. Because what we've seen, and the thing, part of that whole learning was that, oh, hey, us as sort of the little guys, the community, just trying to do what we do and build organic, awesome products, it doesn't matter. And I think the simplest way to add that up is that you can have the best product in the fucking world, but if nobody knows about it, doesn't fucking matter. It does not matter. And so realizing that there's not going to be any space for the community, the grassroots organic builders, a lot of the clubhouse OGs. There's not going to be any space for us in the coming cycles if we don't figure out a way to pool some of these resources, some of this attention together to create a platform for ourselves, to create something more meaningful and long-term that can hold some of that space, that can literally own some of this real estate in this space, so that we all don't just get relegated to being a fucking footnote when Nike, Adidas, Starbucks, and Disney and all the big influencers come back in, because they're going to all come in. And then what happens to a lot of us who have been here as the OGs building, really caring for and trying to shepherd the values of Web3? What happens to all of us then? So that's been the major focus and project with the Web3 network lately, is basically creating a content network, a creator network within Web3 that's really focused on this lack of trust, creating trusted voices, a trusted source for good content, where hopefully you can get some signal from all the fucking noise, because there's so much. We know that. So yeah, that's been the focus more recently. And so all of that said, I did experiment very early on with some like digital, I minted 1 or 2 paintings super early on in like 2021, just because literally I wanted to make sure that at least I had something, you know what I mean? Like, so I created 1 or 2 things, but I've never focused on my own creativity as an artist in the space at all. And so I had a lot of creative energy. I believe in building in the bears when it's important. I don't want to be showing up when, 6 months to a year from now, when everybody and their mom is back on the hype train. I don't think that that's as meaningful. I think that launching now, showing that I've been working for months with everything that I've been learning, I think this is when it's meaningful to show up, to keep showing up, try and create something valuable and an awesome experience now.
I totally agree with everything you're saying, that. And I also, something that you said I wanted to touch on, which, you're talking about how you've been consistently building this community, and it's been about education, right? And your spaces in particular, and also the projects that you have helped promote or get behind, it's all towards, uplifting, like you said, educating. But I think like what's interesting about at least your journey and like the trajectory of it all is that there's something that we think of in this space a lot around influencing, right? It's like people are paying people to do this and this and that. And I think that something that you've done, and also with the Web3 network, is just show up and lead by example and platform other creators that are doing the same thing, that are paving their own ways, building their own communities. And because of the integrity piece of that, people do follow, you do gain trust, and then you don't exploit it, right? Like you keep really fostering that relationship with your community. So I've always respected that about everything that you've built, from IRL events to, projects online, to airdrops, to the giveaways, like all of these fun things that to me like represent Nifty Castle. And then that extends on to Web3, the morning show, and now the work that you're doing. So I do want to pivot and talk about Coffins, because we have like 30 minutes and I want to delve into the Coffins. Not literally, but conversationally. I mean, I wouldn't mind a coffin actually. But I want to talk about the genesis of the Coffins, the journey, how you got to this project. I know you have a really strong aesthetic, a really strong sense of design, and I see that coming through with the Coffins work. So it's like really nice to see those things kind of connecting, because I think all of us in the community got to see bits and pieces of that through like the DB's collab, through a lot of the promotional materials you would put out are like really highbrow designed. So to see like your voice come through with like a personal project like this with Coffins is really awesome. So give us a full TLDR, give us the gamma, and tell us about the genesis. How did the Coffins come about?
Yeah, I appreciate that setup, and I'll just try and acknowledge the last points too about like the integrity is so huge to me because I think we all can agree that there's a lack of that in general. And so while it's great for us to stay on top of what Starbucks and Disney and Xcopy or all the big well-known people are doing, we try very hard to continue to include upcoming artists, people who we think deserve it, who otherwise get no fucking attention and just deserve that attention. They should be part of this. So yeah, I think that's huge. So I wanted to say that. Okay, the genesis of Coffins, man, it actually goes back quite a way. And again, I'm very excited to talk about it because this is a story that I don't really share, but my own history as an artist, it ties very closely to my music. I have played drums off and on for about 25 plus years. Started playing drums around 10 or 11 years old. Music has always been a huge impact, piece of my life. And I've actually produced 4 records. Most of it's all heavy metal, doom metal, thrash punk. I was very inspired by rock and roll, punk rock, metal music, all of that growing up. And in Houston, where I did most of that growing up and playing, I produced 4 different records. But all of that was as a band member. All of that's playing drums or being a backup singer, helping to write, but as a community, a contributor to the group. And when I eventually got fed up with dealing with audio engineers and other audio producers that we were working with who were just not reliable, didn't know what they were doing, didn't understand how to take our notes and implement them into what we were making, or just disappearing, you know what I mean? Like paying them too much money and getting shitty products or not getting I hit a fucking limit where I was spending out of my pocket as an indie fucking musician producer on all these other producers who just were not fucking getting it. They weren't helping. So I said, you know what? I'm smart enough. I get the tech. I actually started playing with beats and making beats during undergrad when I was around like 19, 20 years old in Dallas. I can fucking teach myself how to mix and master. So I made it a goal and undertook, it was a process of, I want to say 3 or 4 years. It does take time because audio engineering is like sound is a science. It is part of physics. Audio engineering is a science. It takes years to really understand how to manipulate sound waves through all of these signal chains, like a chain. Anyway. So the point is, it took me years and I went through this awkward process. And during that time was really thinking a lot about, okay, I've always been part of this collective as a band, but who am I? What is my voice? How do I want to represent and identify and promote, brand myself, all these things? You can just think about it as personal branding, but through the lens of being an artist, a musician. Many of us have been through this. Heroin's down there. He figured out his own style, his own aesthetic, his own voice, his own name. So I was going through that process while teaching myself to mix and master over the course of years of making some music. And eventually, through much work, trying to understand myself and figure out, that awkward process of figuring out our own voice and style and all that type of stuff, I eventually landed on Gifdead. So this was around 2016, 17 when I landed on this, and it resonated with me immediately on many, many levels. So I'll get into that. But one of the immediate things is because I have a background, I've always been fascinated with brands. I've had the opportunity through the creative industry, creative agency world in LA, and through different work, professional experiences to literally work on the biggest global entertainment brands in the world. I could name lists of them. Everybody from Red Bull Media to Amazon Prime to Sony PlayStation to Electronic Arts, I literally PBS, like I could literally just go on and on. AMC, TV channels, big networks, all of them. So branding has always been.
You emerged without ripping them off, which is another great example to set in the space with
Yeah,
Coffins.
so when I landed on Gifdead, like one of the first things you do, it's so difficult to find an original name. Anybody who's been trying to come up with their own or just create a band name knows it is one of the hardest things to find something totally unique and original that nobody has ever done or had or owned. The ability to actually own something, an ownable name, is so difficult to come by today with all the history of people creating and living and all the things, producing things. That's why you see a bunch of weird spellings. Like heroin found it in an interesting spelling. I also found it in a portmanteau of linking things together. That's why you see Z's instead of S's in a lot of things. Or junior has an umlaut for junior, right? So it's just so difficult. And when I found Gifdead, which is a portmanteau on gifted, and I searched for it, searched around, did a whole query trying to find, is it ownable? Has anybody else branded this? Is this a thing that exists? Nobody had it. In 2017, Gifdead.com did not exist. It was not on any social media websites at that point. It was not in any search query on Google. And when I realized, holy shit, I stumbled onto something that resonates with me, that's totally unique, that nobody has fucking done, I was like, okay, thinking ahead, this is good. I need to go with this because I can own this thing. And I believed in the personal branding aspect of it way before everybody was deep into the metaverse. Like the idea of having a moniker that you can own, your own sort of quote unquote personal brand. So that's the origin of Gifdead. And then the Coffin, when I found that name, I created a design. And I was like, okay, this is going to be me. This is going to be me as an indie artist. And I created what was the original Coffin concept design when I came up with the name. And so then out of that, I actually started creating, prototyping and manufacturing some fashion items and accessory items. I had a short-lived, about a year, maybe a year and a half, I had a designer hat company called Gifted Couture. And I'm trying to drop some of these things over here in the chat while I talk. Just some early designs. So I'll see what I can get in here while I'm talking. But basically the concept was extremely limited. And again, this was way before Phygital, way before these, tokenized fashion items that we have. This was in 2016, 17. The whole concept of Gifted Couture was limited edition, custom designed hats, every design limited to only 100. So only 100 units or items for each design, for each hat. So I look back on that now and I'm like, holy shit, again, this was kind of early on in that. So, okay, I'm finding a couple things here actually that I'll just kind of drop in.
Yeah, just pin whatever and everybody feel free to, and just, I want to take a little moment, a little break, a little, as you would say, re-ranch the room for everybody joining us. We were talking about Coffins by Gifdead, and we're going through his life story right now. So it's going to be about another 5 hours. So get some popcorn.
Oh, geez.
No, just kidding. This has been really great to kind of hear about like the genesis of how you entered the space. And I really want to encourage people to check out this project as we're talking about it. It's currently minting live. And if you don't feel compelled to mint today, or please mint another day. But something that I was thinking about earlier is kind of how a lot of us started in the space. And that's like retweet artists, engage with the post, give it a like, comment, but just, retweet if you feel inclined. Find a coffin on there that you're vibing with and retweet because we are here to support this drop and very, very excited to be, hosting the Coffins drop. And it's already done just amazing, like over 500 gifts. Now
yeah, woke up this morning, it was at 500, which is just amazing.
yeah, so please keep sharing things and checking out the collection. And yeah, this is wonderful. So I know you were in the middle of a thought. I don't know if you wanted to complete it because you were pinning some stuff, but do you
Yeah,
have some
well,
more to
well,
dig
so
into?
yeah, so the point to get to the point is that that's the origin. I started designing some fashion around this iconography, and I think maybe to get to like what's the deeper meaning and inspiration, like why does Gifdead and the Coffin resonate with me? It's okay. So I like probably many of you when you were younger, as creative souls trying to understand our existence. Uh, was very, very fascinated with this idea of sort of moral ambiguity. Um, and what I mean is like understanding at an early age that within each of us is the capacity for great good or great evil, and that we literally every day wake up with that power to decide which way do we want to go, but that most people are not one or the other. That you exist in this gray area in between where some of our choices are driven by altruism, good, helping others, and some of our choices are selfish or even actually evil acts. And so trying to like incorporate that understanding was my way of sort of trying to control that chaos within, I think. And so I design all my own tattoos, and the first ones I got when I was 17 were of my own interpretation of a pentagram and a cross on my left and right shoulders. And so literally tattooed on my shoulders when I was 17 years old, which was illegal, by the way, in Texas by some drunk dude in the back of a bar. But these were my own designs and interpretations of good and evil, and like literally trying to incorporate this moral ambiguity and own the fact that I have this within me, just like we all do. And so duality, if you want to simplify it that way or reduce it to that, has always been a fascination, a theme within my life. And so I saw that sort of in the coffin and these original coffin designs. If you look at it, it's kind of split in half, and also has its own sort of like ambiguous cross. Like, is that an upside down cross or is that a cross? So in the original concept designs for this coffin, it was really playing around with these ideas of moral ambiguity. And okay, so just to try and move it forward from that, duality has been a big theme, playing around with that, and I think that what I'm expanding on here with a lot of that idea is what I've realized is that the coffin has become this reduced symbol that most people commonly think of as just a symbol of death, right? It's just like, oh, you just see a coffin, nobody thinks twice about it. And I think what I was like, actually, well, to me, this can represent so much more. This can be a life well lived. Like what's in the box really? If you open it up, it was probably a complex human being with dreams and failures and goals. It can be a celebration. And when I started thinking more about that, then you start going, well, historically, coffins or sarcophaguses were often treated that way. We have artifacts from the past of these beautiful ancient civilizations of how they buried and honored their dead and would literally glorify them, imbue them with amazing artwork and masonry, sculptures and gold and jewels and all these things to usher them into a next phase, set them up and literally imbue them with glory in the afterlife or some other phase of life. Make sure that they had what they needed when they transitioned. And I feel like we've lost a lot of that wisdom. And so these things can be portals. And I don't know. So I think just like realizing that I think there's something here that not a lot of people have looked at with a coffin, that we've lost some of that. That's really what is at the heart of the Coffins project, is playing around with this idea that a coffin can actually be so much more, that it represents a life, a person, or something inside it that you don't even know until you open it up. So there's this Schrodinger's cat, there's Schrodinger's coffin effect too, where it's like, you have no idea. It could be a million things until you open it up and you actually fucking see. It is a portal.
Well, I'm not going to be opening up any coffins anytime soon, but I feel like I do hear you saying a little bit of like, you can take it with you. So maybe we should focus on doing good things in the space so that we can take it with us. We could be buried with our our hardware wallets.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
no, but I love everything you're saying, and I love and I know we do not have time to get into it in this space because I do want to talk a little bit about your influences, and then I also want to talk about the generator and also the smart contract aspect of this. But
Well,
what I was
can
going
I
to,
say really, really quickly
yeah,
on that note about
please.
like taking what you can, like, that's one of the cool things about this too. That's like very meta, is that by taking an action with the generator, you create a unique coffin design. I don't know what any of these outputs are. It in real time, they instantly reveal. It's this on-demand feature of the generator app. They instantly reveal, and it generates a totally unique original coffin design that I never could have planned or predicted that you make. And then it does actually become some small part at least, of your imprint on humanity.
Well, I mean, that's really intense. You're definitely making a case for not being cremated. So there's that. But I can say, having some experience with the generator as well, it's kind of nuts, right? Because it's like you have this idea and you can be in your studio and you can be hand making these or even, making them on the computer, and it's just going to take you forever. So that's always my excitement about this generator, because it's making these combinations that maybe you're planting the seed, right? With all of your traits and your assets, and then it's just bringing to life your vision in this very particular way. I mean, OpenGen to me, it's just so cool, and it's cool on the part of the collector, right? Because it's generating in real time, and you get, you know what I mean? You just get the delight of when it reveals what you've co-created. Really, in a lot of ways, that's how I look at it, because it's like you've put it together, and then we are coming in with the last piece of it to make it come to life. No pun intended, but I do want to talk a little bit about how you spoke about the color palette. And I want you to talk a little bit about your influences and inspirations behind the actual the aesthetics of the Coffins collection.
Yeah, sorry. I'm like having fun going through all these old things that I haven't looked at from Gifted Couture, like hat designs and sort of the genesis of the coffin. So I'm pinning a bunch of that stuff up top, by the way, if you're not checking it out. I never share any of this stuff.
When merch
So,
store.
well, so that's okay. So I'll say that really quick. Is that one of the coolest things about launching this is that I now have my own IP that I can do whatever I want with. And I've got so many different ideas. I got so much creative energy and things that I can do with this that I couldn't do with other projects that I'm not the artist or the full owner of those IPs. There's so much opportunity and awesome creator tools, different experiences, different products, so many different cool projects and things that I can do with Coffins now. Like I've got literally so many ideas. So that's really what's super special about this project, and why I'm so excited that people are getting in early and minting some, that people got in on a WoW list. Like you got token 1, like you were smart, you pulled the trigger. Easy and Crypto got tokens 3 and 4. Like just the fact that I now have my own IP, I have to say that that's super dope. Then I think you were asking about the creative design, the colorways, the things
Yeah,
within the project.
the aesthetics behind it,
Yeah.
how how your the color palette influence and the inspirations behind the aesthetics.
Yeah. Yeah. So the coffin design is a hand illustrated design. By the way, I did the entire project on a 15-inch MacBook with the trackpad. Never even used a mouse. I built the entire thing on a 15-inch MacBook with a trackpad, actually hand drawing, hand illustrating a lot of the different pieces. So I'll just say that. And that's partially due to when you need to create something, you just grab what's around you. This bear market's been very hard on a lot of us. It's been very hard on me. I don't even have a car. I only have a motorcycle that I'm trying to sell because I got into a motorcycle wreck in January, and my iMac that was my workstation has been broken. It like corrupted like 6 months ago, and I haven't even been able to like get it repaired. So like I literally just had my laptop and Photoshop on a 15-inch MacBook. So I made the whole thing that way with a trackpad. The coffin design is a hand illustrated render that is inspired by the coffin emoji. loosely at least, because when I first came up with the Gifdead branding and like Gifdead Couture in 2016 and 17, and I got the Gifdead Instagram and I put it on that, I put the coffin next to GIF and I was like, Gifdead, oh, look at that. It's kind of cool. Put the R next to it and it's my brand and I like trademark and ownership and all these different ideas. I took that literally like a screen grab of what that looked like on the Instagram app, blew it up, drew over it. And that sort of became an early logo too. And so that's where that started. And obviously I believe in this power of like open source internet communication language, whatever it is that we're doing on all these protocol. Like to me, the emoji, what I'm trying to say is the emojis, this like Unicode emoji characters are a form of global communication, like an open source protocol. And I kind of very early, like I'm putting words to this now because I've thought more deeply about it. But even back then, like 7-8 years ago, whenever this was, I kind of just innately understood that there's value in this language that we share that is like global, right? These coffins, this emoji that I can now play with and throw into all my posts, like it just seems like, oh, it's just fun marketing. But understand that like this is an actual global language protocol that we're tapping into. So that is built into this design. And I hand illustrated a coffin design that is inspired by the emoji, the original emoji at least. Now there's different versions of the coffins. Like the one that I see on Twitter is different than the one that I see on my iPhone. But there's a coffin on all these different operating systems. You know what I mean? It's fucking awesome. And I don't think anybody has owned it like this, like has created a brand that is actually unique, that is inspired by that emoji. I don't think that that's happened. And I think that in the future, that might actually matter. The color, so there's so many different creative inspirations integrated and incorporated into this project. That's just one. The coffin emoji. The color theory, the original color palette was inspired by you know it, because I know you're a big film fan, Jess. It's the Coen brothers' masterpiece, Big Lebowski. So I'll try and find that and pin that as well, because I love this part of it that is kind of like an Easter egg that just about the projects that most people don't probably know or care about, but I love it because that's one of my favorite films of all time. I like film, entertainment, pop culture. One of the things that I've been saying about this project in sort of some of the marketing materials and how I talk about it is that these symbols may or may not be made for popular consumption. And so what does that mean? It means that like I'm playing around with the intersection and the like commercial art versus popular art versus mainstream versus fine art. What is art? Can commercial art be art? And I think, pop art and entertainment has had such a massive impact on my life that I wanted to pay homage to that, use some of that inspiration in it. And to me, when it's done right, it absolutely is art. When you do commercial design, commercial art properly, it absolutely is art. And I think that we've lost a lot of that in the US and our culture. Architecture, things that are commercial, meant for the public, for mass consumption, used to be beautiful. This is why people love going to Rome. People love going there because you used to build an environment around you for everyday use that was absolutely fucking stunning. And now if you go look at like business parks and buildings and just popular, mainstream places, they're fucking drab. It's depressing. It's boring. There's no character. There's no charm. There's none of that. And so I think what I'm trying to say here is that commercial design, when it's done well with thought and intention, is absolutely an art form. A brand can be art. And look, Warhol knew this. That's what pop art is. You can actually create fine art when it's done well using mass production techniques. And a lot of other people get this too, but I think that inspiration is definitely another thing that's in this. And I just shared that. So I'm pinning that up top. if you want to see the iconic Big Lebowski scenes that inspired the original color palette. And then throughout it, there's just so many other Easter eggs or inspirations. One of which I'll throw out, for instance, is Virgil Abloh. There's a clear sort of like off-white theme or motif in here that I'm sure is not that hard to find. But yeah, there's just so many different various inspirations. And I think this project at the end of the day, if nothing else, is an amalgamation of so many different creative inspirations and experiences throughout my life. And that's why it's special to me.
Well, I love that it's all culminating in this project, and you can hear the passion in your voice, obviously, and then you can see how thoughtful as these are being generated. Just a little nods and even nods to the community and such. I know we're probably going to go over a little bit, but I have a few more questions for you. One, I really want to talk about the open gen. I want to know what intrigued you about using NiftyKit's generator for this particular collection, because I know you've had ideas over the years to do different things, but you decided to do the coffins, you decided to do them as open gen. Talk a little bit about that decision, and also expand on the experience, because you touched on it a little bit, but I'd like to hear you sort of unpack that a little bit more.
Okay, it's honestly, I cannot say how cool it's been. You shared the app with me, free generator app. Again, none of this shit existed. So obviously, okay, not obviously. Let me take a step back. Since I got into the space and started to learn more about what generative art is, and then worked on some early generative PFP collections, and then I've been following all of the art, the amazing art that's been created. Like my entire life, I've been fascinated with art and culture and technology. And so obviously that's why so many of us are here, right? Like we're just, oh shit, this is the bleeding edge of art and technology. Like literally my undergraduate degree, when it was a brand new thing, a brand new area of study. This was in like 2008, 2009 when I did undergrad and went to school and chose, instead of going to Ringling School of Art and Design to an art college, I wanted to go to UT Dallas, where they had this brand new art and technology program for 3D animation and all this different shit. So I've always been fascinated by technology, art, where they come together, the bleeding edge of creativity, creative processes. And I think that's really it. I've been fascinated, been watching it, been trying to create since I got in early 2021, play with the technology to scale amazing experiences, one-to-one unique pieces of art and collectibles through this technology. How can you use these new tools that never existed to manufacture at scale, unique, one-of-one pieces of art? That's a fascinating thing that just has not even really existed in the history of mankind, but especially tools like NiftyKit did not exist until very recently. So the timing is amazing, because literally could not have made this happen as myself, as an indie artist, without a fucking team. And I know that because I've had small teams to do these projects in the past. You need a team. You need Google and Amazon devs like we had on WitchyGF to like build out a fucking custom pipeline for these things. A generator tool that NiftyKit has now is literally a free app that in a couple minutes can stack these layers in an amazing different way, in ways that you program it. It's super easy. It's honestly amazing. And to see the outputs, like they look better than I expected. And that's just being super honest. I didn't know what to expect. I had so many concerns. I was so down to the last minute. And I'm just blown away. I'm so excited by what happens when somebody hits mint, because within just a minute or two, you have an original, unique piece of Coffins art that this generator just created and minted to the blockchain. And they look better than I expected.
That's the crazy thing about the generator, because I've used it before and a few other artists that we recently had on Spotlight Spaces here. It's the same thing, right? It's like you put this work together and then it just, spits it back out to you. And it's like, here's your work re-envisioned. Don't you like me? Like, I love that moment when you see it for the first time and you're like, wow, I had my concerns, just like you said, but it is much better than I had even anticipated. And I'm seeing that coming, like with every coffin, like same thing. Like I said, I can't wait to, I don't know what Goy is right now, but I want to mint some now that it's public. and see, because when you were showing the samples earlier on, there were so many different like iterations, different backgrounds, different designs on the coffins, and you've done all this really unique stuff with this project. And I do want to kind of go back to talking a little bit about, NiftyKit, smart contracts, of course. And I know that you have always been pretty vocal about, self-sovereignty. You have a passion, for smart contracts. And I know, at least in the GM Web3 spaces, this gets touched on a lot. There's been discussions a lot in the past around topics of autonomy in Web3 in relation to our art practices, and you've been a champion of that. And I love if you can share from your perspective your reasons behind being on your own smart contract for Coffins and other art that you've put on the blockchain.
Yeah. Look, if you are trying to create something that really, really matters to you, like that is important to you, then I think you want to make sure that you are in control of that contract. Like, bottom line. I don't have anything against marketplace contracts and people experimenting. I've experimented on OpenSea stuff. I've experimented on those contracts, and they are what they are. They serve a function, and that's great. But I think most of us in here understand now the power, the true power of what this technology can do is to empower you as a creator in many different ways, through true self-sovereignty and decentralization, or at least much more than has ever existed. And with that comes a lot more potential value for you as a creator. It just allows you to capture more of the value that you're generating in the world through myriad means, and also have some level of security that, if that platform goes away, disappears, or changes some shit up on you, you're not just like, well, oh, all right. It's like, I guess I'm fucked. There goes that thing that I cared so much about. So with something like this, and again, that's why these tools are special, because the smart contract aspect of it is so seamless and easy. Like, the NiftyKit tool is awesome. Truly, this is my first time using it, so this is honest. Like, it's been a great experience. And yeah, I don't know what else to say other than, like, this is obviously a very important project to me. And so there's no way that I would ever put it on just a marketplace contract.
I love that. And I wanted to take a moment and just shout out to everybody on the NiftyKit team that's in this room. Dong Lee, I don't know if you want to say hello, you're on the stage, but you've supported, this project from start to finish. Dan's in the room. We've got, I think, I see Juvie and Lois down there, and anyone else that I did not shout out. These are always team efforts with these projects, like however much time and energy is going into these drops, and the folks behind NiftyKit are really what is driving these tools for us to use so easily. So I just wanted to shout them out and say thank you. And thank you also for the extra help with Gifts Drop, because without you guys, you guys wouldn't be seeing these amazing, like, generative and open gen projects coming out, and at the speed in which we can create them with the click of a button. So, but shout out to Dong Lee up here. I don't know if you say hello. Yeah,
Yeah.
you've been behind the scenes and hustling.
No, thank you, Jessica, and Gift, like all the process that you guys put together. I know, Jessica, you've been going on to many calls with Gift to make sure that he's good to go. And no, everyone on the team, we're very excited. Maybe I could speak for the team for a moment, but yeah, we're very excited that at the each generation, one of one, all very unique, and it's created by not only the artist but the person who's behind it, right, clicking the transaction. So that's really exciting, really fun to watch. So congratulations to everyone gifted the most. And just listening to you talk about this, it really brings fire back to our hearts. Like, we're very excited that we are able to provide this, we are able to do this, push through this bear market. As you said, like, it was not so easy for many of us, and I think this is the moment where, when an artist or a creator launches and get the project out and everybody's celebrating, this is the moment that we work together towards. So thank you again, everyone, for being here, supporting Gift. Please, retweet his his posts throughout yesterday, today, every day. Support, show a lot of support, check it out. Mint a couple if we can. Just very excited for today.
Love it. Thank you. And, as always, I said this at the beginning of the room, but for anybody who's joining, let this be an inspiration. If you're curious and you want to experiment, you want to do a generative project, you want to do OpenGen, you want to get in and really get your hands dirty and use NiftyKit's tools, you can hit me up, you can hit Dongli up, and we'll help, get you on track to putting your own collection together. I mean, this is the time we're in the bear market where we shouldn't be sitting on the sidelines as artists. We should be experimenting. So I just want to encourage you guys to do that. It doesn't cost anything to use the generator. You can literally mess around with it for free. And it's a lot of fun. So I just wanted to put a nice little plug in there before we move on. And we are going to have to wrap the space up soon. So Gif, I do want to talk through the details, any alpha about the drop, how long it's going to be open, the price, just remind everybody of when, where, how, who, any roadmap, anything that you want to leave us with that is going to set us up for, set you up for success with this project and set us up with some exciting goodies.
Yeah, appreciate all of y'all so much. Dongli, Dan, Juvie, you, Jess, the NiftyKit team, everybody in here and who's been part of the Web3 network and the community, who's been supporting this, the Oniforce fam, DB's fam, like Nifty Castle fam. That really, like, this is the type of thing that without so many of y'all doing what you do in the space, just being awesome parts of the community in myriad ways, like, it wouldn't exist. This thing would not exist. Like, and I mean, like, it's not a joke. I wouldn't be here, much less this project, without so many of you. So I think it's important to say that. Really, what I would say is that if you see my passion, my creativity, what I bring to the space, my ability to understand the technology and how dedicated I am to building here, that's the best thing I can give for a roadmap to you now, because this is my own IP. So whatever I can do and whatever I want to do with it, I'm going to do that. And I don't know what that looks like yet. Right now, I've just been so focused on getting this thing up, trying to make it as valuable as just a generative art piece, collectible experience as I can, trying to make it as affordable and accessible as I can. So right now, I'm just so excited to be sharing the story, getting it out there, seeing people generating awesome, cool art with the generator. That's all I can say. I'm not making big promises. I'm not promising a token yet. No, I'm just kidding. I'm not promising a token. I'm not doing crazy roadmaps right now. It's just about seeing how many people, like you as the community, gets to decide what the total supply is. It's planned to go until December 13th right now. So I'm going to be out there talking and sharing about it a lot. If any of you out there have opportunities, connectivity, chances for me to share and talk more about this project, I would absolutely love and appreciate more chances to do that, just to make sure that people know about it, that, anybody that has, $9 plus gas that wants one gets into it and they don't miss it while it's open. So that's the plan right now. But just know that this being my own personal brand and IP and who I am, that there's definitely a lot more things that I'm going to want to do with this in the future. The coolest thing to me is seeing how they come together and how it actually looks like an actual product itself, when it's literally 461 random layers from different sources, of all different ages that do not fit. So I'll say that.
Amazing. So just want to wrap it up here. It's always a pleasure when we get to riff solo. So, you're one of my favorite men in the space. I can say that in a recorded space now. It's safe for me. And
I'm holding back so many comments right now, Jess.
One of my favorite men in the space. I do love this project so much, and you know that I'm not lying when I say that. And I wish you all the success with this. And I always learn something when you actually take the stage and talk about your art, which is very rare. And, just talking about the side of yourself. And I love that our community can now, give some love back because you've supported so many of us, and we can support you in your solo endeavor here today. I already scored my coffins, but like I said, I'm going to go back for some more soon. So everybody here should also do it that's listening. And so your drop is live now. You guys can check out his drop. It's pinned above. I just want to thank everybody, and thank you, GIF, and thank the team, everybody that's here today, everybody that showed up, because showing up also is something that has been really important to us as creators. And just please check out the project and retweet. Let me see if there's anything else I'm missing. Yeah, we love if you can retweet the project,
This
and
is
I
so
want to give you
nice for me to just get to sit here while you talk about it. This is
So I
awesome.
get to say
We
nice
should do
things
this
about
more
you.
often, is what I'm saying, Jess. We should switch roles. We should do this more often. That's
We
all I'll say.
can do this more often, but
Appreciate you.
when we're in morning rooms and you're upsetting me with projects that I don't like in the space, of course you're going to get a different Jessica, and that's going to be a little bit more of a combative, questioning Jessica. But this is easy peasy because we're talking about, a project that I not only love, but that you have used NiftyKit to deploy your contract on with and use a generator. So like this is win-win. Like this is good. So I'm just really I'm happy to support you in this. The community seems like they are really happy to support you with this. So with that, I just want to thank everyone for their time. And flowers to you, GIF. You can put them on your coffins. Maybe we can, figure out maybe like a spin-off project where you have flowers for the coffins. But yeah, any last words before we close?
Well, I
Uh,
actually want
Go
to
ahead.
interject. I have some. That's a big, huge no for everyone in the room. Yes, if you want to receive flowers by Jessica and get the good side of her, use NiftyKit, talk to us, let us help you. And then, we'll have a pleasant day in our spaces, and then we'll have a battle, maybe some fun times in Gifted rooms. But uh, thank you again, Jessica, and this is just wonderful to hear.
I agree. I got nothing to add other than I hope you all check out Coffins and generate some cool art, and really,
Yep.
really much love and
Do it.
appreciation, gratitude.
Yeah.
Thank you.
And share your coffins, everybody. Like tweet them out. It's been a lot of fun to see what everybody's collecting.
Tag me. Yeah. I'm sharing
Yeah,
as many as I
tag
can.
us.
I love
Tag
seeing it.
NiftyKit, tag
Yes.
GIF, do some hashtags. I don't know if they're in anymore, but yeah. So thanks again, everyone, for joining us, and NiftyKit for hosting. Please follow Gifdead, follow NiftyKit. If you're a creator, please be in touch. Please don't be shy. Like I said about, creators sitting on the sidelines, there's no reason why you can't get in the mix and just start experimenting like today. So check out the pinned tweets above, learn more about how you can reach out so we can help you launch your next NFT project. And lastly, we host spaces every week. So follow NiftyKit and put us on notifications so you don't miss out. And with that, I am going to inflict harm onto GIF that he does onto me by playing my own music. No, I'm just kidding. I am going to play us out with some music, but it's just some
You're
soft
not
ones.
kidding. You're so not kidding.
No,
But yeah.
actually, I think this is on the playlist that you gave me, which was Brain Food. So
Oh, okay.
I'm gonna play something off your playlist, which I played it
This
at the
is
beginning. It's just lounge music.
this is like our mixed shared Spotify playlist now. It's the
Yeah,
J.X
there you
GIF. Yeah,
go.
playlist.
Yeah, you played something relaxing, and see how I responded. I responded with I was very happy about this. So I hope everybody has a great rest of your Thursday or Friday, wherever you are in the world, and we hope to see you back here next week.